Hello, welcome to Liam's Museum. For our first video, we'll be starting a new series on how accurately prehistoric animals are portrayed in media. Our first animal to look at is the Beelzebufo from Ark Survival Evolved. The real Beelzebufo was a large frog from the late Cretaceous of Madagascar. Its full name, Beelzebufo ampinga, literally means shielded devil toad, in reference to the covering of bony armor on its head and to its generally frightful presence. Although it's been considered the largest frog ever to live, it was really about 23.2 centimeters or 9.1 inches long, similar in size to the modern African bullfrog. But don't be fooled by its seemingly small stature. Even the largest specimens had features indicating that they weren't fully grown. Even though it was small compared to a human, Beelzebufo certainly lived up to its name. Its head was enormous compared to its body, and it had a bite force between 500 and 2200 newtons, or about 112 to 494 pounds. That's equivalent to the weight of an anvil crushing your foot. Ouch. With its massive head and crushing bite, it's likely that this beast of a frog was even able to prey on hatchling or juvenile dinosaurs. But how does Ark's Beelzebufo stack up against its real-life counterpart? First, let's look at size. Simply put, it's way too big. It's even big enough to ride. It would be pretty impossible to ride one in real life, since Beelzebufo wasn't even a foot long. It would be like trying to ride an African bullfrog, which, for the frog's sake, you should not attempt under any circumstances. Second, let's look at mobility. Beelzebufo and Ark can outrun almost all the other beasts. Although we don't actually have a speed estimate for how fast the real Beelzebufo could hop, it's unlikely that it would have been this fast. Ark's Beelzebufo can also jump incredibly high, even over a Diplodocus. It's very unlikely that the real Beelzebufo would have been able to do this. Third, let's look at combat and abilities. In Ark, the Bufo attacks with its tongue and injects its enemies with a venom that can put them to sleep. As far as we know, there's no evidence for venom in Beelzebufo or any of its relatives. Also, why would Beelzebufo slap something with its tongue when it can crush it with the unrelenting force of an anvil? Finally, let's look at appearance. In real life, Beelzebufo would probably have looked similar to the horned frogs of modern-day South America. There's evidence that part of its head was covered in hard, bony scutes, something unusual for a frog. However, the model for Ark's Beelzebufo seems to be covered entirely in scales, which makes no sense for a frog. Most amphibians, and all frogs, have smooth, porous skin that allows them to absorb water and oxygen. Essentially, frogs breathe through their skin, so a frog that was covered in scales would just suffocate. Also, like many of Ark's creatures, Beelzebufo has just a bunch of random spikes jutting out of it. Although the real Beelzebufo's head probably had some horny scales sticking out of it, it probably wasn't covered in spines. So, overall, how accurate is Ark's Beelzebufo? I'd give it a very inaccurate. There's really not much that connects this creature to the real Beelzebufo besides its name and the fact that, well, it looks like a frog. Although it may be quite inaccurate, the Beelzebufo is arguably one of the best creatures you can tame in Ark Survival Evolved, with its incredible speed, tranquilizing venom, and its ability to gather copious amounts of the rare cementing paste resource. Well, thanks for watching. Goodbye.